Hello and welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of your show, The Untold. My name is AziadiQ8 and I'm here, of course, with my colleague Hibal Gahtani. How are you today?
Well, we're doing great, and hopefully everyone who's watching us do also feel that one of the most important thing they, especially to a
Mhm.
person who you meet, let's say, for instance, in the street, outdoor, and so on, is let's say seeing a teacher. What
Yes,
does that bring to you?
memories,
Memories.
golden memories, beautiful days and motivation, a lot of inspiration, a lot of things.
Yeah. Great things do actually happen when it comes into meeting your own favorite teacher. And having that kind of connection is very beautiful. So in today's episode, dear viewers, we're going to know more about that beautiful connection and how does it feel to become a teacher?
Nice introduction. All right, stay with us, dear viewers. We'll be back with Miss Awatif Alameeri. All right, welcome back, dear viewers, to the studio, and of course, welcome again. I mean, you haven't been in the Untold, but previously in one of the programs that we had on KTV too, we met previously. So I'm very happy to have you, Ms. Awatif, again here with us, and definitely she's gonna enjoy whatever topic we're gonna be talking about here today. So basically, just a brief about yourself to the camera, and then we can get to talk and ask you more questions about
Hey, thank you.
today's topic.
I'm glad to be here again. Uh, I'm an English teacher. I've been a teacher for almost like more than 15 years.
Mhm.
I love teaching. I love training. That's my passion. What else do you want to know? I'll let you know. Go ahead and ask me, and I'll just.
So we can see that you're really passionate about being a teacher, and this
Yeah.
is something very, let's say, rare to be honest to hear and see about. When we say the word teacher, especially if we're talking about, let's say, toddlers and children, they start to, let's say, be scared and terrified, and I want to go to school and that kind of scenario. But then again, you see a different kind of students. When you say a teacher, they immediately recall a person, a character, a feeling. So to you today, Awatif,
Mm.
talking more about the word teacher. What do you feel and what does it really mean to you?
Wow, what a good question. For me, teacher is a connection between a person, which is a student, and the world. Knowledge, information, experience, future, interest. So, and even capabilities, like the students will find their capabilities through you as a teacher. You're that bridge between their future and, you know,
Life,
knowledge
let's
The
and
say.
bridge, I like that.
information. Yeah. So that's what I feel a teacher is. A teacher plays a really strong role in a student's life.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what do you actually believe the most important aspect in the teacher?
Patience. Honestly, patience, like patience even for herself,
Mm.
even a teacher for themselves. Like you will get there. You will connect with your students.
Mhm.
You know what you're talking about. Don't be afraid. Don't be like a lot of teachers
Mm.
honestly don't understand or don't see their role and how strong it is.
Mhm.
But a teacher does play a strong role in that student's life. And for her to see that, it's not going to come easily. It's going to come with time.
Step by step.
So yeah, so a teacher needs patience with the students also.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
they're
I guess
students.
this is the most difficult part.
I don't think it's a difficult part. I don't think it's an easy part. It's something you train yourself
Mm.
to be.
Develop.
Yeah, you develop yourself to be patient. You listen more,
Right.
Mm.
even to
It
yourself.
comes back with time, let's say.
Definitely.
This is what actually happened in life is that you start to, let's say, get educated with all of the situation that happens, and of course get to know more about it. So one of the most important thing is having that kind of great bond or relationship with a teacher. I do recall I have that kind of relationship where I was really scared from my science teacher at that time that because she was really strict and I was really, let's say, scared of the tone of her voice. And then when it comes into life, and after years of her being, let's say, as a teacher, and then meeting up again and seeing her in a different kind of, let's say, aspect and way, and there's that kind of bond is when you see her, is like I'm like I stand up straight. Hi, miss.
Mm.
Then I remember you, and she kept saying that I remember you too. you're smart, these kind of details about, let's say, your students. So this is that kind of relationship. Like, she was the teacher. When I see her, like, you have to stand and everything, but there was that kind of, let's say, kindness and that kind of beautiful bond that you do recall and remember her in a way. So do tell us about how important is having that bond with the teacher, and especially that kind of communication with students.
Like I said a while ago, listening. You have to listen to the students, and you have to do your best not to judge very quickly, and you have to understand. And it's not an easy job. Every teacher knows that knows that it's not an easy job, but having the bond, for me personally, is extremely important. Like, I love that.
Right.
I'm that teacher that wants to be friends with all, with everybody, and not as friends, the word friends, but as that person that they can approach,
Right.
they can ask, they can learn from. Sometimes, like when a student says, "Well, I wanted to ask you, but I was afraid." I was like, "Afraid of me? Why?" And I'm like, "Just ask. We're both humans. There's
Right.
nothing. I'm not gonna like get angry at you if you ask me a question, unless you're gonna offend me. That's something else." But no. But honestly, when having that bond, back to your question, is extremely important. And bond comes from respect. You as a teacher have to respect the students before they respect you. You have to understand that these students come from different backgrounds, different homes, different ideas about teachers. And even a loud student has a reason to be loud. And all you have to do mostly as a teacher is understand that and respect him, and respect that he's trying to connect with you, even in his different way, even if he wants attention, even if it's that respect that you have to give. And listen, always use these. Wait till they finish talking, and then you talk, and try your best not to judge.
Yeah.
You will judge. It's not something you control, but you have to back off and say, wait a minute, he's trying to say something.
Right.
So that bond is something I do seek a lot.
And I
Yes.
do agree with you when it comes into listening, is because it's the first skill that people start to, let's say, identify, think, and hear things. So it's the first thing that you actually use, which is your ears, in order for you to learn. So imagine how powerful it is that you manage to control that kind of sense in order for you to understand and figure out what's happening, especially when it comes into student.
There's a funny story of mine. Back when I was a student, I really wished for that teacher who, creates this bond with us and be friendly. So at some point, I wanted to be a teacher. At some point, I wanted to be a teacher. Just to become that teacher I wanted to have.
Yes.
So friendly as much as possible. When it's my class, everyone is happy because, hey, it's the 8th class.
Yeah.
I'm here right now. But
Yeah.
you made, the point that you just talked about is 100% true. I really appreciate teachers who create the bond and become friendly and listen.
Yeah.
Most importantly, listen. So when it comes to waking up in the morning as a student, and not all of the students love to go to school, and they think it's again I have to wake up early, this kind of stuff. But when it comes to someone who wakes up and can't wait to meet you again, and be in your classroom, how can you create that vibe, this positive energy in the class? What can someone do?
Let me tell you one thing, it happens on its own. It happens without you. Like, before, I used to, like, really, when I first started teaching, I really wanted to focus on that. I want them to come to my class. But with time, I said, you know what? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. If it's not, it's okay. So having the vibe is you as a teacher enjoying the vibe of your class. Definitely vibe is important. Definitely environment is important. Definitely having your students love your class. But sometimes you don't have a long time to focus on that. Because if you do, then the minute you don't see that vibe, it's going to bring you down. But if you as a teacher focus on you having a good time, you preparing the class, you making sure everybody is listening to you and paying attention, have that big smile on your face. What I always say, you know what, leave your problems and your worries in the car and just come to class, because it's not their problem. It's whatever you have is your problem. So just coming with that mindset, making sure that you as a teacher are relaxed, taking care of your mood, taking care of your attitude, taking care of that thing, the vibe will come. If you're relaxed, the students are relaxed. If you are happy with what you're doing, enjoying what you're doing,
They're gonna be
knowing
happy.
what you're doing, prepared for what you're doing in class, the kids will catch on, the students will catch on, they will respect that you care about them. So I think it comes on its own, the whole vibe thing, and you preparing as yourself for that vibe also matters. You preparing for that environment really matters. Yeah, definitely. And can I want to add something? Also, like when you said about you being a teacher and you remember, I just want to add this. For me personally, what happened is I think I started remembering each glimpse from every teacher. Like it's not just one teacher that you think of. When you become a teacher, you remember those situations from a lot of teachers, and then it just
All
becomes
combined
you.
together, and then
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
you.
You just
Okay.
and then you make your own dish. You make your own thing.
Yeah.
You know, your own
Your
style.
recipe and style.
Nobody's right. Nobody's wrong. Each teacher has their own way, and students will catch on. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's very nice.
and one of the most important thing to emphasize on is students do know if you are happy or angry, even if you're not showing
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, they can tell.
It's like that
Oh, yeah.
kind of bond of connection that when you enter, even with a big smile, like they know there's something wrong. And they'll always try to cheer you up if you're a
Yeah.
favorite teacher, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
So having that kind of beautiful environment is important, but we have to always have that kind of sense of respect and discipline
Definitely.
and being creative and critical, let's say, at the same time. So managing that is, I'm very sure, difficult. Dealing with different age category of a student is also difficult because what you use as a method here is way different when you're using it with higher education. So do tell us about this raising point itself.
Ooh. I think I wouldn't use the word difficult. I would use the word challenging.
Challenging.
Yes.
Yeah. If you talk to me when I first started, I'd be like, I'll cry right now. But with time, you sense it. Like from the eyes of the student, from the way you look, you sense it. As long as you make your presence present, as long as you are there,
Right.
as long as not making yourself focus too much on that student with problems, but make sure you take care of them. Make sure you respect that, you know what, maybe he's having difficulty, maybe this is his
Right.
way, maybe. And definitely, like you said, it's different from children to middle school students to higher education. It's all different. But the more you realize this student needs attention, the more you start focusing on discipline, because discipline brings that discipline. The way you talk, like sometimes you have to, give that student, it's like, no, not right now. We'll talk after. But miss, right after. Make her, like you're telling him to stop, but at the same time, and definitely, every teacher knows this, it's that body language.
Right.
Yeah, you have to work that body language, and you have to not be worried. Oh my God, if I have this disruptive student, he's going to ruin my class. No, he's not. In the end, he just wants attention.
Right.
So what you do, definitely talk to him after class. Make sure you know if it's a young child, you sit there with them, tell them what's going on, what did you want to say, but alone, without the attention of others. That's it. Give that person or give that student, and at the same time, even the higher education, come talk to me. I felt you were upset. What's going on? And let them talk. You will understand how to deal with them the next day, as long as, like I said, you use your listening to them. Yeah, listening and talking to them, giving them attention. Yeah.
That's fair enough. Let's see, from the beginning until now, it's always listening.
Right.
It's very important, I think, in all situations. So not only being a teacher, maybe being a parent, always, right? So basically, it's a very important thing to focus on, dear viewers. All right, so nowadays, as we grow up and move on with time, things happen, new things develop, technology, for instance. So I think it plays a huge role in education right now, right? So what do you believe technology plays role in technology right now?
It depends on the subject. It depends on the teacher. It depends on, like, okay, in this situation, definitely. If I go back and I say, well, before COVID, technology, no, I don't like it. I don't. But when COVID came, it was our best friend. Internet was our best friend. It saved us from a lot of things. Being there on the screen, explaining to the students while they're watching, helped us a lot. Now, as we are in class now, I love that interaction. A lot of people used, projectors and all that. I don't have the patience for that. I'm that type of teacher that holds the marker and just writes a lot on the
Right.
board. But, I turn around and I said, well, I wrote that, now you write that. So I like to see them writing and working and making sure, students always joke around other classes. They're like, oh, Ms. Awatif he doesn't give you homework, doesn't give you anything. And he's like, no, Ms. Awatif's homework is in class. She makes us work in class. Like sometimes I'd have some two students tease me. Miss, my arm hurts me so much
Yeah.
because I wrote. I'm that type. So, but honestly, technology helps us with homework when we give them, projects and homeworks and stuff like that. It does help a lot, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always good to have time for everything, like time for technology, time for,
Yes.
let's say, more of basic education, because this is very important. We want to, for the students, not to rely on these technology, but also remember that you yourself do have these great tools where you could actually get
Use
very
them.
useful.
And honestly, if they take it home, not all of them do it.
Right.
They let someone else do it,
Yeah.
like technology. So you can't rely on them understanding. So if, like you said, if I, tell them go do
Yeah.
homework, a lot of students are like, well, mom, can you do this? Sister, ask a sister or
Yeah, just for
yeah.
assistance.
So
Yeah.
for as a teacher, I believe in front of you is the best. Yeah.
Definitely more effective. All right, so I guess we got more questions, but first of all, let's take this really quick break and we'll be back.
And we're back, dear viewers, to continue with our guests. So, talking more about these beautiful memories, I'm very sure you walk around in the market and you're really busy, and suddenly someone pops and say, "Do you remember me, Miss Awatif? 5, 3, 4, 10 years ago."
Yeah.
So these kind of, let's say, meeting up with your students is something very beautiful. I'm very sure it has a very great memory. But it's very, let's say, happy and terrifying at the same time. It's because, like, was it really that long? Like, did time really pass? That these years
That's the
did
question
really
you want
pass?
to ask is
Yeah.
about the time.
Yeah.
At that moment, you don't think of the time. You're just happy to see them. You're just happy, that they're doing well, that they remember you.
Even though that you don't remember them.
Oh, no, I do.
Okay,
Like
good.
most of them, yeah,
Yes.
I do. Especially like certain classes, no, you do. You remember the face. Maybe you don't remember the
Especially if you,
name,
let's say,
Yes.
teach
but
them.
yeah. But for that, not to think, I mean, it's just a happy moment. And even you walk away with that happy moment that student came up to you and said hi. And it's really funny because like now, like you said, some of them are married and they show like, this is my kid, like,
Yeah.
it's like you're
That
that
kind of
aunt that
emotion.
saw,
Yeah.
that haven't seen her niece or
Yeah.
nephew for a long time.
Right.
And honestly, when they see you, they become that student again. Like
Right.
he'd be like all full of himself walking, but when he sees you, he's like, Miss Awatif, and he becomes that student again.
Right.
So for them to respect you and love you that much is an honor and is something you're like, okay, this is why I do it. This
It
is why.
motivates you
Yeah,
to keep going.
definitely. And even if you guys see teachers, give them
Yeah.
kind words, even if you don't like them that much, just tell them,
Yeah.
something out of feeling happy to see them. Some teachers, like you said, they get awkward. Some people are like, oh God, my
Yeah.
enjoy the moment. Don't care about, how old you are, how old they are, what's going on. Just enjoy that moment of seeing them.
Yeah, like
That's what matters.
to be honest, like when I met my science teacher, the thing that I had more of seeing her with her student is I was really jealous about that kind of bond, because she's so friendly and so let's say ongoing. And when I saw her, I just really told her, like, you know what, I'm really jealous. And she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, when I back in the days when I was a student, like I felt you were really strict, but you were really kind and sweet. And I told the students, like, you're so lucky because you're seeing a very beautiful side of her that I didn't actually manage to see, or maybe because I didn't actually gave myself a chance to see it, because in that certain age you have that kind of challenge of accepting. Like some students do feel let's say awkward or shy, or don't want to, let's say, have a
Maybe
great
it was there,
relationship
but
with
you
teacher.
didn't get
Yeah,
to see it.
yeah, maybe definitely wasn't there, but yeah, it came up with, let's say, the years itself. But it was very beautiful. And I do agree with you. You have to always say hi, even if you have, let's say, a certain memory. But it's always nice to say hi to your teacher and remind them about how beautiful the time was at that time
Yes.
itself.
Let me add one thing. each teacher like has a stage in her life. Like maybe back then she wasn't as comfortable as she is now
Right.
with her students. So maybe you were
I
on
was
that
at the
beginning
beginning. I was
stage
at the beginning
where
stage. Yeah.
it wasn't easy for a teacher, you
Yeah.
know. Maybe she just felt too worried. The teachers worry a lot. A lot of them, like, especially if a student doesn't understand, or if a student just sometimes even a student gives you attitude just by looking at you, you know, just like giving that look, and you're like, what did I do? You know,
Yeah.
a student hates me. So it does kind of, let's say, shake her confidence, you know, make her not confident. But with time, it just gets easier. It just gets easier. And also, like you said, like you wonderfully said, sometimes you weren't able, or I think you said it,
Yeah.
you weren't able to be comfortable.
Right.
And come on, let's be honest. I mean, let's say back 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we were different students than what
Definitely.
students are today.
Indeed.
Now they're
Yes.
more confident, they're more outspoken. They're still the same. You know, they do have the same issues we have inside, but they're more comfortable
Right.
with the teacher. And the teacher has to be more, you know, interactive with them.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right. So when it comes to the most challenges that face the education today,
Yeah.
what do you think it is right now?
You tell me, what do you think?
Not listening. I don't know.
Who's not listening?
Teachers, maybe.
Teachers are not listening, so teachers are the blame.
No, no,
right?
no,
Ah,
no, no,
okay.
no. I'm not. I'm just. I
Tell
don't
me,
know.
tell me honestly, what do you think is the challenges that teacher, from you as the outside, what do you feel?
But I think it's the students that they're not
Cooperative, let's say.
cooperative. I guess nowadays technology takes away the spirit of education in class. Some people, some students. I mean, I admit, back in my years, you know, mobile phones was something new. So we used to bring them in. It was a little bit distraction at that time, so it distracted me. I confess. Nowadays, I think it's more. It happens even more. So I think technology plays a huge role
In affecting the student.
affecting the
So,
students. This
so
is
one of
my
the
answer.
challenges you feel that is
Yeah.
technology that was,
Yes, even though, you know, technology plays a huge role in, you know, like COVID, like the, you know, the years of pandemic, but there's ups and downs.
okay, what do you think?
To me, I believe that students know more and they're more up to challenge when it comes into, let's say, trying to test the teacher.
That's a great point.
Yeah, like they do know. If you're talking more about specific, let's say, subject like English, they do know how to speak English. Therefore, they want something else. Let's say more. I think to the curriculum itself. And sometimes I do believe, even when it comes into, let's say, science and so on, like I feel and believe that they're up to date. And this is where the challenge lies with the teacher, is that you have to be up to date, like more a plus version of what's happening.
Both great points.
I
will
actually
add-
like the point even more than mine, because
Let me
yes,
tell you
this
one
is
thing.
real.
Okay, since you brought that up, let me tell you one thing. They sound smart. They sound like they know too much. They sound like that, but in the end, they're, you know, they're still innocent.
Right.
They're still inexperienced. They still, so no matter how loud and how that's, in the end, you know, they're still that innocent and inexperienced, and, you know, thirst for knowledge, and they need the discipline, and they
They need
need the
guidance.
love. They need the guidance a lot. So don't let that fool you that, oh, they know. You know, sometimes like even when I put something in my I'll give you an example. Just 2 days ago, I put a question and I said, "Oh, come on, you know, you explain this all the time. They know it. Don't put that question on your you know, English account. They'll answer it easily. They're gonna go, it's too easy." And I did put that question. And surprisingly, a lot of them answered wrong. So I said, don't let people, and this one was like, I had that moment, don't believe that people know things until you give them the right information and ask them, did they understand? Because a lot of them are like, oh, that's easy. Oh, that's sahel. But when they answered, half of them got it wrong. And here it's like, you know, it was just a simple question. Do we put an S in the question or not? And something like simple, because does is there. So need and needs, does it need an S or not? And half of them answered wrong. So here, a lot of students sound like they know a lot, but it's hard for them to admit that they don't know a lot.
Right.
Okay, so that overconfidence is what I tell a lot of parents. Don't let that oh, you know, no, don't worry about my child. She knows so much. She has attitude. Da, 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 da. No. In the end, she's inexperienced. She still needs knowledge. So how you give the knowledge to people that already know a lot is the challenge. That's one of the challenges.
Yes.
Telling them that, no, this is wrong without embarrassing them, without putting them in a corner and, you know, making everybody focus or laughing or, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
people laughing at them or the students where they just stop talking English altogether. So that's one of the challenges. How do you give people that already know a lot the right information? And, sorry, you said
Using
about the challenge.
technology.
The challenge.
Yeah, technology. It's not that scary. They know they have to close their phone. They know they don't use the
They
close
know,
in the-
but they don't.
Yeah, you tell them.
Yeah.
Oh, just one look. I told you, body language.
Body language.
Really, I just look at him and he's like, sorry, miss. And, you know, he just puts it
Yeah, yeah.
Just look at him. Just make sure you, and as a teacher, don't give up. Go over and over and over that rule. Don't let it, just because they're ignoring it doesn't mean it's okay. And you just let it go. Bacha sawi. You know that thing?
Oh, yeah.
No, there's no bacha sawi. You want
Yeah.
them to pay attention because they have an hour or so in your class. They need that information. They need to pass the test and they need the grade. So you as a teacher know that. Sometimes they don't. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do believe this is where the challenge do lie, especially when it comes into different kind of teachers who are entering the field. I mean, especially talking more about, as you just elaborated on, Dai, that we have educated students that are very, let's say, up to the point, they want something new. And to be honest, I have to say this, seeing the old traditional way of teaching, in specifically, let's say, talking more about new generation, is something new to them. Let's say, use more of a picture on the board and then ask them about something. This is where they like enjoy and look and stare. Oh,
Oh,
this
you're
is
so
something
right.
new, you know?
You're so
It's like
right.
so different when it comes into, let's say, talking more about back generation, let's say our generation. And nowadays, we used to be, let's say, advanced. It's like, oh, this is something new. But now, if you go, let's
Go
say,
back,
back,
yeah.
it's like, new generation will get really attached to more
the
of the
old.
material.
You are
things.
such a
Yeah.
great creative teacher. I gotta say that. Because for you to notice that is amazing. Because I was yesterday reading the questions and I said, I love interacting in the class itself. Me doing that. What about you? What about you answer? You answer. Instead of just going, you know, just do the exercises online or whatever and finish. And you're so right. Having that old school come back to class
Yes.
is something that the whole, we go back to the interaction.
Right.
The whole dealing with one
Yes,
to
yes,
one,
yes.
making them feel that they're important to know this information. No, you are important, and
And they will remember it.
And yeah, and you deserve to know this, and you can get up and write the word, and you can, you know, do all those things. So yeah, you're right.
It's really quite interesting.
Yes. So when it comes to measuring a successful teacher, how do you measure it?
How do I measure, assess her? You mean? How do I say that's a good teacher or not?
Yes.
Me personally, or someone else?
You personally.
Me personally, how do I know I did well? Maybe that's that
Yeah.
what you're trying to ask me. Their feedback, the students' feedback. The students' feedback tells you you did a good job or not.
Do they usually do that?
Oh, definitely. Oh, students are the kindest when it comes to showing appreciation, even if it's just the one student that tells you, "Thank you, teacher. I finally started understanding English. I finally started loving the class. I started loving and that's where your motivation as a teacher comes in. Oh yeah,
From the
sometimes I
feedback.
take daily 5 minutes of the day just to motivate them. You know what? It's for you. Come to class, come on time. It's for you. I can't come and bring you to class. You bring yourself. And thanking them and appreciating everything they do. Definitely they will thank you. Definitely. They will say they appreciate it. And especially now, students, they're very observant. They look at you all the time and they know if you like them or not. They know it. They know it. So
By the look.
so yeah. So their feedback tells you, good job. That's like I said, I told you, yeah.
All right. So I guess I wanted to ask this last question, but I guess we don't have enough time. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and ask this question. If you go back 10 years,
Yeah.
10 years ago,
Yeah.
what advice would you give yourself as a teacher?
Be patient with you. Be forgiving with you. You're doing an amazing job. You're doing an outstanding job. You will get better. It's going to get easier. It's going to get easier.
Do you have anything else you'd like to
Well,
mention?
to be honest, it was really, let's say, shown with the advice. Like when you start, it was, let's say, a little bit higher, and
Yes.
then poof, with the grade, let's say, Tom. Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure having you here.
Thank you. Thank you both for being amazing. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. All right, so dear viewers, stay with us. We'll take this really quick break before we wrap the episode. With that said, dear viewers, we have reached the end of this episode. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
was charming. It was inspiring as a teacher, and also as for the viewers, for the students, for everyone who's still in the education system. I mean, it means a lot to get to know more about the teacher
Right,
more
indeed.
than the student.
So, ending with a beautiful advice to all the new teachers, be patient, listen, and speak to your students. And to our beloved students, always remember to be kind to your teacher.
Yeah.